Last week's shooting at Santa Fe High School was front and center at the discussion at the Capitol today. Previous mass shootings in the state have prompted some of these laws, actually. And then once the folks in this room finish, the results go back over to this room over here for some double checking.
You better believe they are very energized that all of these propositions failed, and they believe that it was their grassroots efforts that helped to defeat this bond.
Both the supporters of this proposition and the opponents of it have accused the other of having dark money in their campaigns. The office of Representative Joe Moody, who's behind the bill, expects it to pass. Yesterday's mass shooting is putting a spotlight on these and other gun laws. In Odessa, Governor Greg Abbott defended new laws which would loosen restrictions on gun use.
Some of these laws were enacted for the purpose of making our community safer.
He also says the number of mass shootings in Texas in recent years is unacceptable.
We are working quickly to hammer out some solutions, to put some solutions on the table.
We are in a crisis situation right now that needs to be addressed, and we cannot keep kicking this can down the road.
Austin Representative Gina Hinojosa thinks the state should look to solutions like red flag laws to temporarily remove guns from people who might be a threat to themselves or others.
That this is not an all or nothing debate. There is so much space in the middle that we can work on.
Jim Henson, who polls Texans for the Texas Politics Project, explains that while the notion of banning weapons is not popular in Texas, support for certain restrictions is gaining steam.
Texans generally favor relatively broad access to firearms, but on the other hand, in recent years have also shown some openness to reasonable restrictions, many of which are being discussed now, like red flag laws.
According to his polling of Texans in February, 49% said they'd be in favor of stricter gun control laws, and 46% said they'd strongly support red flag laws. But the Texas legislature is not scheduled to be back to make new laws until 2021.
We don't need more roundtables. We know what works. We know where the data is. We just need to enact these laws.
Some lawmakers like Hinojosa are calling for a special session to address gun violence. Whether that happens is up to Governor Abbott. And Tom, so far the governor has not indicated whether he would call a special session to address this, but he did say that having a second mass shooting in Texas in less than a month has heightened that political urgency to make some changes. 13-year-old Ivan Ramirez loves to play soccer and spend time outdoors, but for now he's scared to go out.
I didn't want really to go outside because I was scared immigration to look at me. And
3 years ago, he and his mother Ilda fled Guatemala. Ilda says things were hard in Guatemala and kids her son's age were used to do bad things. Right after she and her son crossed the border, they were taken into custody by border officials. They spent 11 months together in detention.
It's very scary, it's very cold.
A refugee organization eventually connected them with St. Andrew's Church in Austin, which has been their home for 3 years.
We've given them room and board, basically, and what they've given us is a vision of the prophetic vision of a world that's shared by humanity.
Pastor Jim Rigby wants to see more religious organizations offering up sanctuary space.
I mean, to me, people are in harm's way, and the communities of faith should be the first to open their doors.
While Yvonne's immigration case is making progress, Hilda has been told her case doesn't have a chance. So she stays inside. She can't take her son to the doctor or even watch him play soccer.
And I play soccer, and sometimes I score, I do something cool, and I wish my mom could see that, but no, she's here.
They're happy the church has welcomed them in, but they say what they really want is the freedom to live like a normal family.
And think, what would they do if they were in this case? Think, what would they do if they were my mom?
Alyssa Goard, KXAN News.
That's why we got this petition now.
Canvassers are trying to get enough signatures to put the MLS Stadium slated for Austin on the May ballot, like this one. Only problem is he was recorded saying the petition would do the exact opposite.
Soccer stadium bill didn't pass?
passed. So we're trying to get it on the ballot now again.
The man recording him is Mark Littlefield, a lobbyist for Precourt Ventures, who got the green light to work out a deal for an Austin MLS Stadium.
And concerned there might be some other folks in Austin who were duped into signing the petition in error.
A new political action committee, Fair Play Austin, confirms that canvasser has been fired and the rest retrained. The PAC was formed days ago with funds from Bobby Epstein, the chairman of Circuit of the Americas, who is constructing a United Soccer League stadium with games set to start in 2019.
This petition effort isn't about trying to give the voters a chance to vote on it. This is people who have a other soccer team at Circuit of the Americas who are trying to blow up this deal.
The general counsel for the PAC gave this reason for the petition, quote, "We pick out one business who's not even an Austin business to give a huge subsidy to. It just seems really unfair." Councilmember Leslie Poole, who voted against the Major League Stadium deal, says the details of it are not public, which she thinks was a bad decision. As it stands, MLS is bound for Austin by 2021. Alyssa Goard, KXAN News.
Cancer.
Mike Thompson was happy to see cancer as one of the many conditions that would qualify Texans for medicinal cannabis under State Representative Eddie Lucio's new bill.
I had 4 cancers, endured over 75 surgeries, had 2 bone marrow transplants, and a 12.5-hour facial reconstruction.
Thompson believes CBD oil would be a good alternative to traditional painkillers that he grew dependent on.
I feel like cancer took 5 to 6 years of my life, and then being on pain meds took an additional 5 to 6 years of my life.
They range from...
Heather Fazio with Texans for Responsible Marijuana Policy is excited this bill would let more people access cannabis-based products. The bill does not allow smoking, she says, but does allow the use of vaporization, oils, and lotions.
If a patient has a debilitating medical condition, they should have the freedom to try cannabis if it can help them.
A similar bill from Representative Lucio did not make it through in 2017. This time around, Fazio believes there's more bipartisan support.
What we're seeing is lawmakers understanding, because of the personal stories being told from their constituents in their districts, that this issue is about people, it's not about politics.
Personal stories from people like Thompson, who wants to help others avoid the same pain he had.
It's very black and white. People need help, and elected officials have the means to do it.
Alyssa Goard, KXAN News.
By parking them here in front with the Capitol in the background, it shows, look, we're here, we're constituents, we're real people, and these laws can have a real impact on us.
Stephen Pace drove from Houston to speak out against Texas Senate Bill 1415. He and other Tesla owners were worried the wording might mean they would no longer have Tesla service stations in Texas.
That might mean that we had to go to Lake Charles, for instance. People in Dallas could have maybe had to go to Shreveport.
Senator Kelly Hancock said that was unfounded, and this law only applied to franchise dealers and dealerships. Still, his office changed the bill language, and Tesla's now happy with it.
So yeah, I would say it was a crisis averted.
Tesla wants to keep growing in Texas. They say there are 21,000 owners of their cars in the state.
This is a Tesla Model S. Behind it is a Tesla Model 3, and then there's another Tesla Model S.
Pace explains that Texas puts extra steps in buying a car, since Tesla's not allowed to directly sell to Texas customers.
We have what we call galleries in Texas. We don't have stores because the word store implies you can buy something there. And in Texas, you can't. So if you go in there and say, hey, how much is this car? They can't tell you. So they say, love to tell you that. Just go online and you can get it from our website.
In the long run, he hopes to see laws in Texas that change that. For now, he's headed back to Houston in his Model S. Alyssa Goard, KXAN News. For years, Lori Brown's world revolved around being a teacher and a mom. But since her son Harrison was killed in a stabbing attack on the UT campus last May, she's trying out a bit of lobbying. She met with Governor Greg Abbott's advisors about her concerns for safety on college campuses and a specific Texas law on knives. Harrison was stabbed in the chest with a Bowie-style hunting knife.
That should not have happened. He should have not been allowed to have an illegal knife on him and use it to murder somebody.
The state law was passed and signed just months after her son was killed. It makes it legal to carry these types of knives and others, but not in some locations, like schools or sporting events.
In my opinion, it totally disregards Harrison and how he died and his murder. It really did feel like a slap in the face.
Not everyone feels that way, including a group called Knife Rights, a proponent of the bill.
On the day that the stabbing happened on the UT campus, the knife that was used by the mentally defective person that used it was illegal to carry anywhere in the state of Texas. If people want to have an effect on crimes committed by mentally defective people, they should focus on the mental health system.
But Lori has her sights on keeping Texas from removing even more restrictions.
I will not take no for an answer.
Expect to see her in Austin when lawmakers are back in session.
If something like this happens again, I just don't know what I would do.
Alyssa Goard, KXAN News.